Mhm.
Well, we made it. My goodness. Some technical difficulties. It's been a while. So
Yeah, I'm
that's
coming.
expected to happen. Also, I thought I made the promo. I thought I said 8:30. Turns out it was 8:15. So I thought we were just on time. We were 15 minutes late. Then due to the difficulties, we are 27 minutes late. 28 rather. But nonetheless, we are here. Vic Jr., Mo Schefter, live on the line. Germ So True expected to join us at any moment. Vic, it's been a while. A lot has happened. There's no need to go all the way back. Everybody kind of knows where we are. Everybody knows what's been happening. But a lot transpired over these last 48 to 72 hours of football. Say hi to the people as I share the link.
Yeah. First and foremost, it's great to see you, man. Great to see you in one piece. Because God knows what these undisclosed locations, what kind of things you be up to.
Hey.
But,
hey.
shout out to Josh. First, shout out to Tyrell. He's already saying leave Dak alone. Unfortunately, bro, that's not going to happen because we definitely going to talk about it. We have to talk about it. And then shout out to Mr. Storms, who, between him and Jerry, man, they've been keeping the Views Facebook page nice and hot, nice and a lot of action going on. You know what I mean? And it's pretty entertaining, pretty fun. New Ravens contingency. Somehow the Ravens fans just kind of flooded Views, which is great. We love them all. I think we're great, all great people. Might be Dion, who kind of just spammed the Views page, but that's okay. But they're supporting their football team, and that's great stuff, man. Again, shout out to Josh and Jerry for getting the best of them these days. Alfonso Williams Jr., I have no idea who you are, but thanks for joining us. State your team, state your Facebook page. If it's
Bro,
different.
Alfonso been with us for years.
Who is that? I'm always the last one.
He been around for years, bro. Years, like probably 5 years at least, maybe. Alfonso been around. He don't pop up like that, but Alfonso been around. I can't remember who his team is though.
Was he a Cowboys
Titans?
fan?
I want to say Titans, Giants, or Cowboys. But I could be wrong. State your team, Alfonso, because I can't remember now. It's not the Ravens. Here comes who?
Jorge talking about Pauls. Because I said Views has been hot. Of course, his mind is in different places than it should be.
Who's this? Storms?
No, Jorge, grow up. Jorge, grow up. For crying out loud,
Jorge,
grow the hell up.
Jorge. Okay,
yeah, I don't know who he is either. Some guy named Kids. His YouTube name is Kids Reaction.
Yeah, that's the.
What a weirdo. Pause to that.
Oh man! All right.
Yeah, bro. I mean,
so let's jump into it. Let's jump into it. Championship weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Stage is set. You got the Ravens. Woo! You thought. Pero no.
Are we gonna talk about Lamar a little bit, or you want to save that for another day?
I would talk about Lamar, but I don't remember the time he played this weekend. So okay, that jive turkey ain't played since Thanksgiving. All right, I'll leave it at that. That's all I'm gonna say about it. Ain't no reason to talk about it. Anyways, you got the Bengals versus Chiefs in the AFC Championship. You got the 49ers versus Eagles in the NFC Championship. I don't think anybody can deny that these are the four best teams. 1 through 53. These are the best 4 teams. And ironically, KC and Cincy might be teams 3 and 4 in that 1 through 53 ranking, but they have far superior quarterbacks. So we're going to tease that conversation, table it, let it marinate, and we're going to come back to it. How did we get here? Let's talk about that. I don't know which game I want to talk about. I am so excited to talk about 2 particular games in general, okay? So let's talk about the other games that didn't have as much intrigue, so to say. You had the Chiefs versus the Jaguars. That kicked off the weekend. Chiefs handled their business 27-20. I don't think anybody at any point felt like Kansas City was going to lose that game, Vic. Obviously, the injury to Mahomes kind of evened some things out, made it a little more uncomfortable for Chiefs fans. Chad Henne, shout out to him, former Jaguar, came in there, performed what he needed to do, did what he needed to do. Mahomes got back in there. Shout out to Andy Reid, who made sure he doesn't go back in there until the x-rays came back. So shout out to Andy for that. I think all in all, despite the level of difficulty not being the greatest, no disrespect to the Jags, probably one of the more performances from Pat Mahomes. And it's not, I think for us, we've talked about it so many times, Vic, the stats don't mean much to us. Stats are nice to talk about, nice for fans to do the blind GM stuff that we do in there, which is a really cool, like the blind GM stuff, to me, there's no right or wrong answers in any of the blind GM stuff we do. I just think any blind GM stuff we do sparks a very broad conversation, and it can get very logistical. So that's what stats are really there for, to have fun with, to play with, to read, to help you like kind of summarize what happened throughout the game and whatnot. But I think for Mahomes, what we saw Saturday was a moment of, no matter the circumstances, like we could be in the mud and I'm going to still find us a way to get us there. And now they're back in the AFC Championship. And I think, ironically, and this is why I'm going to let you jump in there, I think it was such a can't get the word out, of their season, of the Chiefs' season, how this unfolded Saturday, mainly for Mahomes, because you saw the total evolution of his ability to distribute, of his ability to stay in the pocket and make a throw, and overall of just his sheer mental warrior toughness that make up championship teams. And I'll let you go off those 3 points, Vic.
Yeah, I mean, I was one of those that, whenever a player starts to be compared to the greatest, without saying names, I kind of pause because I've been able to see 20-something years of great play from 2 specific quarterbacks, right? Brady and Peyton Manning. When guys start to be compared to those guys, that's when I start to pause and be like, give it some time, things like that. Pat has grown on me a lot more. Obviously, since his first year, he's a much better passer in the pocket, like you alluded to. So when you combine that with his ability to get out of the pocket, you got yourself, again, he's going to be one of the most dominant players. And what's scary about Pat is there's still room for improvement. There's still room for improvement. Like this just feels like upside there. You know what I mean? Unlike some other guys that we will talk about down the line here in a second, there just seems to be some upward trend still to his game, and that's very scary, considering that he's been able to not only take his physical talents and wow everybody with it, but his mental ability now is catching up. In the pocket, distributing the ball, reading defenses, which he even admitted himself a couple of years ago is something that he's still working on. We can go all day about Pat, man. Like, and one of the criticisms I said, let it happen one day that Tyreek Hill and that elite world-class speed is no longer available. Let's see what he can do with it. And I mean, maybe the quarterback play was terrible this season, because honestly it was overall. But he's probably the MVP. He's probably the
Yeah,
MVP this season.
yeah,
And just Pat grew on me, and then another guy that grew on me too, man. I wasn't a big fan of Trevor coming out. Uh, Gemini was very clear about that. We had Zach Wilson and Mac Jones ahead of him, and right now Trevor is looking like the better player. We'll sit here and admit it. Trevor is looking like the better quarterback right now. Like there's a lot
yeah.
of improvement that he also needs to do.
No
Those four
doubt.
interceptions, the Chargers let him get away with that. Those are some of the things we saw in college, where there was a lot of mental mistakes, dumb mistakes that he would do, and he did it in that game. But the kid is a warrior, man. The kid is a warrior as well. So, shout out to Trevor. The Jaguars look like they're a team for the future as well. It's going to be a tough ride in that AFC with all those great quarterbacks there. But Trevor and the Jaguars are somebody that to look forward to.
No doubt about it. And I think we have a lot of time throughout this offseason to talk about the Jaguars, because I think they're going to be one of the more intriguing teams to talk about in this offseason. And again, on the Mahomes side of it, I just think it's always beautiful to see the great ones evolve. And it's so easy. And I could name a plethora of quarterbacks that this has happened to. Most recent memory, Derek Carr and Matt Ryan. Not that Mahomes was ever in the conversation with those guys, or those guys in the conversation with Mahomes, rather, early in their career. Not that either of them had the type of impact that he has had, or success even. Right. But you look at so many quarterbacks, and really players in general. There's a period of 3 years where they're elite, and then boom, that's it. They go back to being regular players, just in the mix, expendable guys, which is the reason why so many players are in and out of the league. You know how Shaq and the Inside the NBA crew, still the best crew on TV. You know how they do the who they play for game? Mm-hmm. You can't do that in the NFL. You just can't. There's way too many players that get moved around. And obviously much difference, 53 players versus 12, obviously much different. But nonetheless, there is, and I mean, just pay attention. Just take all 32 rosters right now and compare them to what they'll be in September. Or you know what? Even vice versa, what they were in the beginning of the year. No. But just for the purpose of this conversation, screenshot all 32 teams right now. And then in September, screenshot them again and compare and contrast. And it's not just bench players. It's not just role players. We're talking about starters who move in and out of who move all around the league. Okay? Shout out to whoever does whoever's a realtor for NFL players or the NFLPA, because they stay busy.
Yes.
So, you know what I mean? They stay busy.
By the way, I got licensed. I should get into that. I should get into the NFL and get those kids some homes and stuff like that.
Absolutely. Especially where you at. Shit, Bill got a train every day coming. Oh, yeah. Okay? You know what I mean? And then you got New York. You name it. Where you at? Philly. You name it. Where you at? But back to my point. You've seen so many players who just have a 3-year dominance or 3-year playing elite, and then that's it. I dare say the Des Bryants, Antonio Browns, Le'Veon Bells, you name them, man. There's been so many absolutely great potential all-time players that have a short period of dominance. Yes. It's very rare that this dominance goes past 5 years, let alone you still see growth. You still see evolution. And the reality is, in order to keep being at the top of the top of the totem pole in this league, you have to constantly evolve. Constantly. And shout out to Pat, because he has constantly evolved. And with guys like him, it's not I can't remember who said this. It might have been Derek Jeter. It was either Jeter or Jordan or somebody talking about Jeter or Jordan or Brady even. I can't remember where I got this from, but it's like those guys, when they get better, they don't need to get 20% better. 30% better, 50% better. They just got to get 1% better. That's really how much more can you go? Right. But every year they keep finding that extra 1%, that extra 1%. And I'm sure MJ and Les could talk a lot about this because they constantly see growth of players with the youth that they work with. But it's just a beautiful thing to see Mahomes not necessarily getting better, just fine-tuning his craft, the pocket movement, the reading the defenses, diagnosing. Basically, everything that's got nothing to do with the actual physical act of the ball being released from his hand. And really, that's the least important part, because everything starts with the groundwork. Everything starts with what you see and how you react. Mm-hmm. The easiest thing for these guys is making a throw. That's why they always miss the wide open layups.
And that's something we're going to talk about somebody coming up soon. But this is a conversation that I find myself having with a lot of fans, man, because you got to remind people this sport, we talk about it all the time. It doesn't change from year to year. It doesn't change from week to week. It could change down from down. Okay. Mm-hmm. Shout out to Damar Hamlin real quick, who his life is almost changed on one play. You know what I mean? So it's down by down. This game is changing. Okay. It can be injury. It could be regression. It could be progression, like you're talking about. But Pat just evolving like crazy, like you said. For example, look at how much people criticize Zeke. They just love to criticize Ezekiel Elliott. But have we forgotten that he's 8 years into the league already? Okay, and at a position that only has a 3-year shelf life, 8 years in a position. So you expect somebody to regress and for him to still be playing at the level maybe that's not as great anymore. To him still be playing you should be impressed by it. Mm-hmm. Mike Evans, 8-9 years into the league, he no longer has the explosive ability that he had 3 years ago for that Super Bowl run, or 5 years ago when he was 24 years old. Okay, this is a player that relies on stride length, not speed, to be as effective deep. So when that no longer is available, that offense is going to take a step back. Oh, Vic, but you never find a way to criticize Brady. Brady, we have our criticisms of Brady, but you have to look at how the game is constantly changing because the players' bodies are changing. They're regressing. They're progressing. There's guys that are coming up stronger. Like you said, that 53-man roster today is going to be probably 50% different next season for everybody because there's young blood coming up. Isaiah Pacheco is a 7th-round running back, Mo. Look at that player right now for the Chiefs.
Facts.
When they needed him to carry the ball and make some plays when Pat got hurt, look at what he was able to do. He has been outstanding for the last 6 or 7 games for them. Where is Claude Edwards-Helaire? Where is that guy? They just drafted in the first round like 3 years ago. The players are constantly changing. Their lives are constantly changing. But this is a conversation we could go about all day. I don't know if you
no doubt. No, we got to, but something we can definitely go back to again. Table it. To your point, Jeffrey Hellman, shout out to Jeffrey Hellman, says winning the war of attrition is rare, but real. Excellent point. Alfonso in there asking what's the mindset around Trevor Lawrence in 2 years. Really, Trevor is, we got to see what goes around him. You know what I mean? There is very rare are you going to get quarterbacks that just elevate every single person around them. It's very rare. And honestly speaking, in my lifetime, I've only seen but a few. But a very, very select few. And we know who they are. Ain't no reason to talk about them. That's just where it is.
Real quick to that point.
Yeah, go ahead.
It was Trevor was one of those guys that everybody was raving about coming out of college. He has the size, the arm strength, etc. It's just the Clemson offense was so tailored around the playmakers that they had. Travis Etienne, who the Jaguars made an outstanding decision to draft him at the end of the first round, kind of where we expect running backs. Just you would hope running backs to start being drafted. But Travis, if I'm not mistaken, was it Mike Williams that he had at 1 year at one point there? He had a lot of playmakers that it just seemed like there was a lot of dump offs, a lot of quick passes, a lot of West Coast principles that I was like, I just don't know if he's going to translate to an elite player that a
Right.
first round pick should be. But I mean, if he's going to bring the best out of these players, and mind you, like there was drop passes against the Chiefs, there was fumbles against the Chiefs. You know what I mean? So if he's able to grab a crew like the Jaguars had and kind of elevate them, that's what great ones do.
Right.
That's what
Right.
great ones do. So if they get him a weapon, if they get him a big body receiver like he had in college, if they get him a big body tight end, I mean, the sky's obviously the limit for this kid.
I don't necessarily think there's too many pieces missing from Jacksonville. I just think there's, shout out to Ronnie, a lot of football maturity to be had. You know, their voice is still cracking in terms of the football world. But again, to your point, I mean, Alfonso was saying he respects him. Tyrell saying he's a classy dude, good teammate. A lot of positive vibes. Josh Storms even around Trevor. So we'll see what he does. Excellent point here by Big Shot. He says Pat is doing better at the non-spectacular. And we'll say it again. The great ones do the boring stuff consistently well.
Yes. And again, let's get on to the Cowboys and Dak. Because
all right, let's jump into that. Let's liven it up a little bit. Let's liven it up. Okay, let's liven it up.
Shout out to the Cowboy fans and views. I love that crowd. I'm in the chat with them, regardless if I've taken back. I
will say this. We have the best Cowboys fans in the world amongst our group.
Absolutely.
Honestly speaking. They are as real as can be.
Yes.
Okay. The only one that gets a little too cowboy-y is Corey. But hey, we're gonna let him live. We're gonna let him live. You know, Corey been around. Yeah. Corey been around like 7 years now.
Corey. He loves his Ohio, Oklahoma. My bad. Oklahoma. Boomer. He loves his Cowboys. Loves his Thunder. So.
Yup. Listen, that dude died on the fence of the two and a possible. Okay, died on that fence. We could pull up the 94 feet of life screenshots. That boy died on that fence. But nonetheless, you got Jerry, Jeffrey, Kelly, you name them. DeAndre, you got a bunch of them. Shout out Big Mitch. You got a bunch of them. They represent themselves very well in that group. And shout out to Jerry because he can dish it and he can take it.
Oh,
shout out to the dish.
Yeah.
But let's get into it. Let's drive right into it. Obviously, the 49ers, Brock Purdy. I can't see. Woo, I can't even get it out. His sinus is killing me. Brock Purdy and the San Francisco 49ers beat the Dallas Cowboys 19-12.
Yeah.
I'm going to give 3 quick shout outs. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to the 49ers linebackers. Okay.
They showed up on the film I was able to see.
Shout out to the 49ers coaching staff.
Absolutely.
Okay. Shout out to Brock Purdy. Obviously, can't miss him. He's playing well, but I'm going to get to him. But a special shout out to Trent, you not getting past me, Williams.
Oh.
We talking about models of consistency. We talking about players who are all-time great at what they do. Trent, you not getting past me, Williams. Trent, leave that spin move at home, Williams. Trent, you ain't ripping past me, Williams. Okay? That dude, you want to teach how to play tackle. You just turn on that film and say, watch and take notes.
Unbelievable.
Obsessed. I am obsessed with watching that man play football. Anyways, let's talk about this, Vic. Who is most responsible? I'm putting you on the spot here. And I hope, Jerry, if you're around, let me know. We'll send you the link. Who is most responsible for the Cowboys losing to Mr. Irrelevant yesterday?
I'm going to make a little list. I'm going to make a list.
Okay.
Number 3 on the list. Trent Williams.
Oh, come on.
Because I said, no, listen, let me get it out.
Okay.
I said that before this game, Micah Parsons would have to be that disruptive force he has been his whole career, and it's a very short career. And he would have to be that disruptive force that he was against Donovan Smith last week against the Buccaneers. He was going to be key to this football game. And the Dallas Cowboys defense, shout out to them overall, have been outstanding, and they were outstanding yesterday.
No doubt.
Micah, they needed Micah to make some plays, and I was surprised on how much he went up against Trent Williams. How many snaps? I'm going to try to count it from the little bit of film that we have. How many snaps? But I am surprised that the Cowboys put him 5-6 snaps, more than 5 snaps against Trent, because there is nobody getting by him. Nobody. Okay. And number 2 on the list, the Cowboys coaching staff. This team was not prepared to play yesterday. There were situations where the receivers were not playing hard. There were situations where the quarterback did not know where to go with the football. And that leads me to number 1. Dakota Rain Prescott is number 1 on my list to blame for that horrible display of football yesterday. 12 points scored against a defense that is very solid, but they could have scored more points against them yesterday. They were moving the ball well, Mo. There was some consistency in how the ball was being moved. Now, they did lose Tony Pollard, who is a big explosive piece to that offense. But Dakota, man, listen, that you're wearing a star. Dakota, you're wearing that star on your helmet, and the criticism is going to come harder for you just because you're wearing that star on that helmet.
Fact.
Okay? I am that guy that will tell you, where is the replacement? Shout out to Desmond Spears, man. He was going all day long during that game and after the game and this morning going at Dakota. Okay? But where is the replacement? But before we get to that, Dakota, you have to make better decisions. Okay? Mo, the Cowboys, and shout out to the offensive coordinator, Kellen Moore, who was outstanding. Young offensive coordinator. He's going to get some jobs in the future. But Dakota was not ready. They believe a lot in the stick concepts. Okay, for anybody who do not know, long story short, what the stick concepts are, boom, it could be 5, it could be 10, it could be 15 yards, stop, hinge concepts. Dakota was not ready for a lot of those plays yesterday. He was late. He was late in a lot of the routes, which caused some interceptions. They have to make this offense a little less where he thinks and a little more where he can just react. There's a lot of options to these stick concepts that they have. You know what the option routes are? Unfortunately, Cowboy fans, they're going to have to dumb it down for Dakota a little bit because that film yesterday it wasn't good, man. It wasn't good. He missed a lot of open receivers, and he was late on a lot of passes because he was just not looking the way he wanted to be or where he wanted to go with the ball. But listen, we could talk about it later on in the offseason. Dakota is your quarterback, and he's your quarterback for the next 5-7 years. So I'm gonna let you go, and I'll piggyback off of what you gotta say.
Oh man, listen! Shout out to everybody in the comments, man. Yes, Big shot. That really is his name, Dakota Rain. Shout out to
It's spelled
Les.
with a Rayne.
Doesn't matter. Okay. From now on, his new name is Dakota. You can't stop the rain. Prescott. Okay. That is his new nickname from moving on out. All right. Moving from this point forward. So Tyrell, shout out to Ty Love. Boneless wings have yet not to grow on me, by the way. Neither has the McRib. But nonetheless, Tony Romo dealt with the same thing, just got to win. I will dare to say that Tony has dealt with more criticism in his career than Dak has.
Oh, absolutely.
In my humble opinion. All right. And here's what I'll say about Dak, right? Yes. Do I blame Jerry Jones? Yes. I'm just the Cowboys management? Yes. Do I blame the coaching staff? Yes. What up, Grim Reaper? Do I blame? We're talking about Dak right now. Do I blame Cowboys GM? Yes. Do I blame coaching staff? Yes. 100% though, I do blame Dak. And I'm going to tell you why. There are big moments against real competition where he does not rise to the occasion. The Dak Prescott that we saw against Tampa is Jekyll and Hyde versus the Dak that we saw yesterday against the San Francisco 49ers. Because once again, when the moment's on, when you gotta have it, he tightens up. He tenses up. And all of a sudden, it's back to the poor mechanics. All of a sudden, it's back to the inaccuracies. All of a sudden, it's back to the, oh my God, what am I looking at that we keep seeing? And it is never, they are never going to get over that hump. Because I've been seeing that all over Twitter. What are the Cowboys missing? What piece do they need? They don't need nothing. 1-2-53, they are ready. Okay, you look around the league.
For the last 10 years. For the last 10, 15 years.
Let's not get carried away. It's
been a great roster forever.
They have been a very good roster. But we talk about that Super Bowl window. Like, this is it. All right, shout out to Huey Lewis. This is it. And Dak, you got to let us know. Okay? If you ain't going to go to the Super Bowl, they're going to have to let you go.
Where's the replacement?
Shout out to anybody who knows that song. Germ, the last thing I'll say before you jump in here, Germ. I cannot help but think, what was Amari Cooper doing yesterday? Go ahead, Germ.
So, all right. While y'all say everything that y'all say there, I'm not going to disagree with any points that was already made. But I'm going to say this. The Cowboys is one of these teams to me where I just feel every year it's going to be an excuse. Every year we're going to have something where we're going to have to talk about in the offseason about something. Whether it be the offensive line not being the same, whether Dak is good in the first playoff game or terrible in the second game. It doesn't make a difference. We're going to have something to talk about because of the star. Then we're going to talk about Mike McCarthy. Then we're going to talk about the defense. Then we're going to talk about just how much they're wasting the talent of Micah Parsons. Then we're going to talk about this. Then we're going to talk. It's plenty to talk about when it comes to the Cowboys. If you want to be honest, this is what pressure does to some of these young quarterbacks. And this is what January football is all about. You're going to get pressured. You're going to get some of the things that you're going to get. And in spite of all of those things that happened yesterday, you're talking about a situation where one team just played a little bit better in certain moments and made a couple more plays than Dallas did. That's scary. Dallas lost the game yesterday that they damn sure should have won.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a game where we're going to sit here and we can talk about how bad Dak played, but it wasn't that. It's you solidified the most important part of the game, the second most important part of the game, which is the defense that can keep the game interesting. So now that you secured that part, the offensive line may not be as great as it once was, but it's still formidable because, I mean, they were getting 4 or 5 yards whenever they wanted to yesterday. I'm starting to ask the question, just like Vic said, where's the replacement? That's a very good question, Vic, because you don't just go out and find another replacement for 4. It's just not going to happen.
No, absolutely not. You got to put some respect on his name. He's still a
Above average
top
quarterback.
15 quarterback. Absolutely.
Above average, and I say above average with respect to the position.
Right.
But if
the
Dak
respect to the
is
elites of
if
the
Dak
position.
but if Dak is the worst issue for the Cowboys, then I think they'll be all right. Like, I hate to say it that way, but you have a roster that is good enough for you to make this happen, whether Dak is playing great or he's not. And we just seen, in spite of his inaccuracies, in spite of everything else, they were still a play or 2 or 3 away from being a 19-19 game.
Yeah, you know what? To your point, Germ, and I was talking to this to somebody earlier. If you look at that last drive, by my guesstimate, and I'm not, this is like, I could be wrong, I could be right. If you look at that last drive, I would say from 2 plays, right? From 2 plays, they cost themselves minimum 25 yards, minimum 25 seconds, minimum. Because they had the one play where, and it is a dumb rule. I don't know why they still have this rule. I heard about it years ago. I'll be honest with you, I forgot the damn rule existed until yesterday. I was like, oh, dog, that's right. I thought they haven't changed that dumbass rule yet. If a person goes out of bounds, he's out of bounds. Why does it matter if he was going forward, backward, or sideways? What is the purpose of that rule? I would love somebody to explain to me the purpose of that rule. Is it to avoid somebody purposely losing yards just to get out of bounds? So what? So what? What is the purpose of that rule? That's the first thing. He went out of bounds. Oh no, clock's going. And then the second play, right after that, when he threw the out route to the tight end, and he didn't get 2 feet in. Those two plays cost them 1, if not 2, if not 3 opportunities to the red zone.
And Dalton, that was Dalton Schultz on those 2 plays, and also Michael Gallup, who we blamed Dak for his interceptions, but Michael Gallup gave up on that route as well. It was a hinge route, Germ, for like 15 yards. You're supposed to stop, and you're supposed to fake inside to the inside of the field and shift your body to the right. And Dak threw it late, but he gave up on that route as well. So the whole offense just looked dead. You know, besides the offensive line, maybe, and the running backs, everybody else, and the receivers, everybody else were, you know, half-assing it, basically.
I mean, except for that. Shout out to my guy, Mr. Lamb Chops. I'm gonna be honest, man. CD Lamb is who we thought he would be, but I think everybody keeps talking about Dallas needs speed. Dallas needs speed. No, Dallas just needs their receivers to catch the ball. I don't like the way that everybody else on that roster plays the ball in the air or makes contested catches if it's not going to 88. Contested catches, y'all, are a part of the game. Like, you got to be able to make some of these catches that they need to make.
Absolutely.
And then another thing too, like, I'm going to say this too, Dak, as bad as you played yesterday, I'm going to talk about 2 throws that pissed me off. And it's both, ironically, those interceptions. Yeah. If you take away those interceptions, I'm sorry, y'all, the game is right there for them to take it, steal, or tie it. Like, there is no like,
it was a red zone. There was a red zone interception, Germ. They had deep post. Okay, so the outside receivers had deep post concept. The inside receivers had
out.
Flat routes off of those slants. And then CD had a choice route. Okay, so he had a choice to stop and either go to Dak's right or left. Dak was thinking he was going right. CD goes left. He tries to quickly adjust and throw, and you got an interception because he didn't see the guy that was playing zone to the left there. So, Again, like I said, they're going to have to dumb it down a little bit for him. They might have to Lamar Jackson it down a little bit for him. Yes, I said it, because the choice routes and those stick route concepts off of those choice routes are just not working for him right now.
Shout out to the comments, man. The comments is phenomenal tonight. Big Shot said, if you hold someone to 19 on the road, you got to win. And then Ty,
20
shout out
points
to
is
Ty.
the minimum.
He says the offense was CD and no one else. Excellent point here. Dallas needs a Kittle. Love that point. And then shout out to Trav in the comment section there. Big Shot again, agreeing with your point, Jeremy, about making tough catches. I think it's not so much that they need a Kittle. It's just they just need Dak to become just better. We talk about getting that 1% better, that 5% better, whatever it is. He just needs to keep getting better.
The effing game.
No doubt. And then shout out somebody else also mentioned, Jeremy, this is what we led this segment off with, giving a huge shout out to Trent Williams. I can't find the comment now, but somebody also commented about the job that Trent Williams had, not only yesterday on Parsons, but has done all year. As it goes, man, no beef, no Lombardi.
He was first team All-Pro again.
No beef, no Lombardi. And I think you see San Francisco, really both these NFC championship teams, they are just strong in the trenches, and it's going to be a fun one nonetheless. But again, we'll table it. Move on. You had the Bills. You had the Bengals.
Let me go first on this one, please. Please.
I got you. All you. So nothing, sort of a unofficial rematch of the game that never happened. Bengals ended up winning that game 27-10. The only point I'll make, Jeremy, before you take it away, when that game opened up and I saw it was snowing, I said, "Uh-oh, this is going to favor Cincinnati." And I'll explain later. But go ahead, Jeremy, jump in there. All yours.
All right. We're gonna start this off the right way. And we're gonna talk about the obvious things here that make Cincinnati, and why Cincinnati probably is the best team in the AFC, no matter what. If your quarterback is able to understand what the defense is doing pre-snap, if he's able to dissect what each player, each intricate piece of your defense is doing, where they are on the field, you got 99 problems in my Mo Schefter voice. Because now what we got here is you got Joe Burrow, and then you have a receiver on the outside that's seeing the game just like the quarterback is. Jamar Chase, Odell Landry, whatever y'all want me to call this man, is an unfair advantage every week when he steps out on the field, because receivers do not translate to wins like this, but that one does. That is a special player, bro. What, like, that play that they gave, that they didn't give him the touchdown, I just want y'all to understand, number one, the route that he ran was phenomenal, and Burrow put it on the spot. But bro, that's against the concept in which they only got 5 yards from that false start. So there was about a 17-yard window to make that throw. And they ran the route, executed the route, and fit the ball into the perfect spot, into a coverage in which the linebacker's job is specifically to drop underneath the route, and the safety's job is to be there. He beat the safety so bad with the footwork that the safety was in no man's land, and the linebacker never had a chance. Like, what?
Never.
What do you do in a situation? What can you do against that combination?
Yep.
And that's going to be the key. But when your X receiver is interchangeable, when you have T. Higgins being quick like Chase, and then Chase being strong like T, you don't need a lot of different pieces around them. And then shout out to Hayden Hurst. Hayden Hurst is probably one of the most interesting players that I've ever seen in football at the tight end position, considering he has every ability to do everything, and he has since he was in college. He can come out of the backfield and run the ball like a running back. He can do everything on the football field. And yet we have a team like Baltimore that gave him away or allowed him to get away from that building, and it never should have happened. The 12 personnel with him and Andrews, I'm sorry, and I'm just gonna say it. That's again 99 problems.
Mm-hmm.
2 tight ends that can do that and that can block and help seal your edge are invaluable and untradeable assets to a football team. The tight end position is more important than the receiver position. So you allowed him to get to the fact that he was a free agent, and then look where he ends up, back in your division and with the team that's winning the division.
Earlier, Mo and I were talking about roster changes. I mean, that's a dude that's seen 3 football uniforms already in like what, 4 or 5 years of his career.
Yep.
Like, should he be moving around like that?
Nope. It's not.
Yeah.
It's almost like the only reason why he moved around in Atlanta, and I understand it, is because they got Kyle Pitts. But you ask yourself this question. But here's what Mo, I already know where you're gonna go, because Mo, it's the same thing. The tight end position is almost damn near inexpendable if you have a player that can do everything well. You can't just give away good tight ends, just like you can't just give away good running backs and good linemen, and why you will never give away a great quarterback. The tight end position is the quarterback-friendly position. So why would you give arguably one of the 3 best quarterbacks in the league a quarterback-friendly weapon when he already has that monster on the outside? That took the offense to another level now, because the offense now is unguarded. That when they run any play in which there's a block and release, we've seen the block and release play, and we were actually talking about this during the game. If you're going to give him that much space, then what? What's next? What do you like? You can't. This offense is the best offense, most balanced offense in the National Football League. And yes, I just said it. Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, Joe Mixon, Samarji P. Ryan, to go along with Hayden Hurst, is the best thing since sliced bread. Offensive line is starting to get better. If they get a left tackle, put Jonah Williams at left guard, I'm telling you right now, that will be the best team in the AFC and maybe in the world. I'm not even going to go any further. I don't got nothing else to say. Cincinnati, I'm going to go ahead and let y'all know right now, they're not going to be going anywhere soon, because the quarterback is at another level.
No, they're not going anywhere.
The quarterback is stellar. Like, if it's levels, like, as much as I love Pat Mahomes, as much as I love Deshaun Watson, Joe Burrow may be the best quarterback in the world. And I'm just saying it, the way he is on that field, he is probably the heir apparent in some way, shape, or form of somebody that y'all hate.
Yeah,
because everything he does on the field is it's almost like he got the wrong number on. That's all I'm
personally. I like that one. Personally, I feel like both guys playing next weekend. And no, I ain't talking about Purdy and Hurts. Both guys playing next weekend are gunning for the throne. That's how I feel about it. I think they are both just absolutely sensational, which is why I put in the promo that is the rivalry that the NFL has been needing since Peyton Manning retired. We know we have rivalries. We know we got Baltimore, Pittsburgh, Dallas, San Francisco, Dallas, Philly, Dallas, New York, San Francisco Rams. You know, we know we got rivalries. We know we do. None of them equate what Brady versus Manning meant to the NFL. None of them. And I'm not saying Burrow and Mahomes will mean that, but in terms of juice, headlines, content, you name it, you don't have to sell next week's AFC Championship. You don't have to do one promo, one Instagram post, nothing. All you got to do is post Mahomes versus Burrow next Sunday, 6:30 Eastern. That's it. You don't even got to put the channel, because people will find it because they want to watch it. And that means something. I got a lot to say about Josh Allen, but Vic, I'm going to let you jump in there. I got a lot to say, baby.
Yeah, man. I mean, you guys talked about everything, dude. Like, you guys know how I feel about Joe. I think that was the easiest evaluation Jeremy and I probably had over the last 5 years. We've been, as much time as we able to get scouting. So I'm not going to take much credit for saying Joe was the best. because I mean it is what it is with him. Tyrell had a question earlier about Stephon Diggs. I just think that the dude is a really emotional receiver. It just comes with the position. And I'm not going to judge him based on his feelings after a brutal loss like that.
No doubt.
Let that marinate a little bit and see what his words are after, when he's able to calm down. But I think that he's feeling the loss. He thought that they had a great football team and they should have been able to play in the AFC Championship. And then Jeff, Von Miller. I guess I'll talk about Von a little bit. I'll just let you take over the whole Josh conversation, and I'll pick it back up.
No.
Von Miller was a big loss for them, and it showed. It showed the last month actually. So especially against the Bengals, who right now are struggling. Well, quote unquote, struggling on paper with the offensive line because they played outstanding yesterday. And obviously not having Von Miller showed that for the Bills.
Well, I'm gonna say this real quick, and then we're gonna pass it right to Mo too. Stephon is pissed off because Stephon is 7'11", and Stephon was open a lot yesterday. And Stephon was out there dancing with the stars. And to be honest with you, Stephon Diggs is probably one of the 5 or 6 guys in the league that you can justify saying there's always open or find a way to be open because they have exceptional footwork, exceptional body positioning, and all those different things. Josh missed Stephon Diggs early in the game on a play that probably would have been a touchdown. But again, what happened? You got that Cincinnati front that got pressure with just 3 or 4 players. So remember when me and Mo were having a conversation about 6-8 weeks ago, and I said, hey, I don't give a damn how good Josh Allen plays. The beef up front is just not what it needs to be. If you don't have an insurance policy for your house, then guess what you're going to do? What happens when you get somebody that drives through your front door? This is exactly what Cincinnati did. They drove through the damn front door. Trey Hendrickson, Sam Hubbard, DJ Reader drove through the front door. You had no insurance policy because your offensive line, the people who are supposed to protect it, the people who your pearly gates, your white picket fence, as we're gonna call it, for your beautiful house, the house that Josh Allen built, you don't have the things that you need to protect him. And now you said that you thought that his legs were enough. Well, guess what, Chief? There's another team that said we may not get premium Wagyu beef. We may not get a tomahawk steak for our beef, but we're going to sure add us some nice sirloin and a piece of beef here and a piece of beef there and put some depth out there to make sure that we can protect this guy that we have because we know what he can do when we give him time.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the reason why that guy is going next week and the other guy is going back to circle wagons and push wheelbarrows and stuff. So with that being said, Mr. Schefter, you can take it away.
All right, look, first of all, I'm not ready to put Stephon Diggs in the 7-Eleven club, okay? No disrespect. He's more like in the Circle K club, okay? Like, I ain't quite going to 7-Eleven. Oh, man, I'm sorry. Anyways, right? Here's what I'm going to say.
That's the comic relief we needed in that moment, I guess, right?
Considering that 90% of his routes are outside the numbers, he's open a lot.
Yeah, he is. That's why I said Circle K. But, but some locations do close. Anyways. German's ass. Oh, man. Anyways.
I needed that one in my life. Hey, 2 shots and 1.
Oh, man. Met your face like Roseanne, son.
Yes.
You cannot reach me on my Samsung. All right.
Get to your Josh Allen rant. I can see what you're going to talk about.
Who says it's a rant? Who's slander? First of all,
slander. Never.
No. Quite simply, I'm gonna keep it real. The criticism we have about Dak, you could copy and paste to Josh Allen, right? Sometimes what you see with Josh Allen is like, you know how like early in LeBron's career, they would just make him shoot? Very similar here with Josh Allen. Like, we're just going to let you stand back there and attempt to pass. And we know that you're not going to beat us. Drop him back 50 times in a game. He's not. He's never going to be that. And this is no disrespect. He's never going to be that quarterback where he's going to just drop back 50 times and get it done. So I asked the question, did Josh Allen fail Buffalo, or did Buffalo fail Josh Allen? And I'm going to keep it as real as it can be. While I have had my criticisms about Josh Allen, I have also had my acknowledgments and my praise. And I am simply going to say that Buffalo failed Josh Allen in 3 regards. No beef, no Lombardi. They ain't got enough of it. Okay, first of all, let me make sure I put these fingers down properly. No beef, no Lombardi. They ain't got enough of it. Okay? Discipline and depth, they ain't got it. Okay? And then lastly, especially since Brian Daboll left, which is only this year, but nonetheless, it even happened when he was there, the coaching. I got nothing but respect for Sean McDermott, okay? I was a little disrespectful early in the year saying we're going to call him Mike Zimmer after the season. I'm not going to do that. But I don't think Sean McDermott is quite that guy. I don't think he is quite that dude to get them where they need to be. Because every year, it feels like we see the same thing from Buffalo. Like, for real, take away the uniforms and the calendar days. If I was to review just the last 34, 17 plus 17 plus 17, 51 games for the Buffalo Bills, I wouldn't tell you what year it was. I couldn't tell you. If you took away the uniforms and the colors on the uniform and the numbers on the jersey, I would not be able to tell you which year is which. Because it seems like we get the same thing from them, ironically, as I'm choking, from them every year. And while Josh very much has a lot of the shoulder to blame, because like I said, there are times where the defense is daring him to pass from the pocket, and he's coming up short. He's missing the target. It got to the point where his touch passes have this huge arc on them. Like, he cannot give you a touch pass based on speed and velocity and all that. All his touch passes are arc passes. Every single one of them have way too high of an arc. And that is my biggest criticism of it. I'm choking like real life. But I think for the Bills, there are 3 basic things. They got to get better beef so they can run the ball better. They got to get better depth and better coaching. Go ahead, Vic.
I mean, we've been talking about that running game forever now. It feels like you said, every single year has been like, what, 4 or 5 years, Jerm? And for me, Josh has had the chance to win MVP. Josh was my MVP the 2 previous years, between him and Brady, the years that they gave it to Rodgers. But I'm gonna admit he regressed this year. There was a dip in his play this year. But yeah, they're not helping him with the run game. They're not helping him with the offensive line, and it just feels repetitive because we talk about it every single year. Shout out to Ronnie. He said it. You can't say it any better. Buffalo's refusal to run the ball with the running backs is irritating. And them not giving them an offensive line enough beef to run behind has been irritating for those of us that like to scout and put teams together.
Germ?
All I can say is as good as Josh Allen plays for stretches during the year, as good as he may look, the issue with Buffalo ultimately will and forever be that the game is about the trenches. And until they get better in the trenches, when Josh struggles, they won't be able to win the game. And
Right.
The trenches does mean both sides of the ball. Yeah, you have AJ, you know, it's Espanza. Yes, you have all all of these guys that you can use to rush the passer. But you brought Von Miller there to be the quick twitch edge guy to help speed up the process. And in this game, he wasn't there, he wasn't available, and it obviously cost you. So that being said, Buffalo is who I thought they were, is who I said they would always be. They are still just a bunch of regular MCs. They're not really somebody who I just worry about too much. No disrespect to anybody or to that football team. They just don't have it. And they'll make good runs, they'll be good, they'll beat up on teams, they'll even compete against the Chiefs and the good teams of the AFC. And they'll beat majority of them. But
Yep.
when it comes down to it, I think the Dolphins are a better football team than the Buffalo Bills in that division. And when I say that, people might say, "Oh, the Dolphins didn't make it and they beat them." But we're talking about a Dolphins team without Tua, and even with Tua not being as good as Josh Allen, we're talking about a Dolphins team that does everything better in the trenches than Buffalo does, which is why Buffalo struggled with them
Right.
mightily all season.
But to your point, Germ, you talking about Miami's a better football team. I'm not gonna argue with you, but that continues to highlight the significance of the quarterback position. And all four of these teams playing next week have had exceptional play from the quarterback position. A lot to talk about with San Francisco, no doubt about it. But Jalen has played really well. And then the other two, man. And I think for Allen to really join that conversation, because here's what I'll say, right? And Vic, this might open up a whole new conversation right now. If the Chargers were plugged in, Josh Allen would be like a forgotten about in terms of the class of quarterbacks.
How about we do this? If Justin Herbert played for the Miami Dolphins, then I would accept this conversation.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. If Justin Herbert was on a successful football team, how much would we talk about Josh Allen? Considering
we would have to talk about him, but you know what?
Of course we would.
I'm getting ready to say something controversial. I'm sorry.
Please do.
Justin Herbert is not the problem with the Chargers.
Oh, this we know. But all I'm saying is, like we talked about this briefly, me and Vic, like if Brady was on San Francisco, if Brady was on Philly, if Brady was on team X, Y, and Z in the playoffs, like they'd be where they are. So we understand that. But what I'm saying about Josh is he needs to take that next step where he can take a 3-step drop back, whip it outside the numbers, you know? And I'll say this, if Josh was like with Kyle Shanahan, hypodermically speaking, shout out to Jazz from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, hypodermically speaking, okay, if Josh was with Kyle Shanahan, there'd be a whole difference in this game because they'd be running the ball, there'd be easy passes, there'd be quick passes inside the numbers, there'd be bootlegs. You know, there'd be a purpose to their offense. And there has been no purpose, no identity to the Bills' offense. So while I am heavy on my criticism of Josh, I gotta react to what I'm seeing. I gotta be real about the situation he's in. Very good football team. Excellent players. Players win them, coaches lose them. They've won a lot of games under Sean McDermott. But it might be time for a Mark Jackson, Steve Kerr situation. And yes, I went there.
Ooh, damn. I mean, listen.
All I'm gonna say is that may be the same problem with Justin Herbert, and maybe the Chargers may need to move out of LA.
Bro, Justin needs to just not be with the Chargers. I'm sorry, the Chargers are a team that's just not going to prosper. Okay, they're just not. They just not going to play. We've had all kind of new Chargers in the world. from cars to Type C's. And these folks are still scrubs.
Listen, I mean, I don't want to I just talking about the Chargers feels like just a downer in the show. Feels like a regression in the show because
it takes the electricity out of the show.
I just think that the franchise needs a complete reset, man. Like there's something really odd going on there. I don't like I don't like to believe that anything spiritual is involved with football mode. You and I know how that goes, but that I don't know what's going on, man. But shout out to San Francisco, the 49ers, Brock Purdy, low-key Mo and I kind of talked about it before the game. We want the Cowboys to win, just so that we can see Tom put on that San Francisco, go home and put on that San Francisco uniform, man. But the kid is making a case. The kid is definitely making a case to definitely take, be that QB1 next season. So, I mean, well, they still got 2 more games to go, but.
Hey, Big Shot saying Samsung Chargers over LA Chargers. You know what? You know those Chargers, when you walk into the gas station, they got like different colors selling for $7.99. Yeah. I take those over for LA Chargers.
Well, with all of the talk being about power, it seemed to be a power outage every time they're on the field, and it's in January. I just wanted to be understood that.
Oh man! All right, listen, yo. Before we wrap up, Jerm, I'm glad you joined because we'll talk some more. We'll be here later this week. Just off the top of the dome, and if you want me to go first, I'll go first. Give me 2 teams from this weekend who will not be in the playoffs next year. You want me to go first? I'll go first.
Yeah. You said from this weekend coming up?
You know what? Yeah, let's make it more interesting. From this weekend. 2 teams from this weekend who won't be here.
2 teams?
2 teams. Let's make it fun. Let's make it hard. Or we can go back to the rest of the. You know what? You want to go back to the.
I'll do both. I'm gonna do the 2 teams that I feel like from this round. I actually feel like it will be more likely for the 2 NFC teams because the 2 NFC teams, in my opinion,
week. I'm talking about the 8 from this week. The 8, the divisional round. I'm not talking about next week.
Oh, okay. The 8 from the division. Okay.
In the divisional round.
Well, Tampa is 1.
Yes.
That's a piece of.
Yup. That's my one. That's one of them. That's one of them, no doubt.
I'm gonna say honorable mention is gonna be Seattle because I don't think that Geno has another year like he had last year.
Last week.
But I'm gonna make it fun though. I'm gonna give an AFC team as well. And that other AFC team is Baltimore.
Yeah, but they were running.
I'm talking about divisional round, Jerm.
The week before last week.
Divisional round. So Jaguars, Chiefs, Giants, Eagles, Bengals, Bills, Cowboys, 49ers.
Oh well.
So the Bucks was a good one.
So the Bucks
didn't play this weekend.
No, the Bucks was from another round.
No, you're confusing the shit out of me, man.
The Bucks didn't play this weekend.
Okay, so this past weekend.
For a second. The 8 teams that played this weekend. This is taking way too long. I'm gonna give you my 2. But go ahead,
so the Jaguars and the Chargers, easy.
The Chargers didn't play this weekend.
What you mean they played? What's this?
No.
Last weekend, bro.
Listen. It was 1, 2, 3, 4. So it was Chiefs. It was Chiefs, Bills, Bengals, and Jaguars, and then it was Philly, San Francisco, Dallas, and the Giants. So give me the Giants because Daniel Jones is probably going to be one of those ones where I say I don't believe in that player. And then I'm not picking Jacksonville because I think that they might have built something really good over there. I'm leaving the AFC alone. I'm picking on the NFC, and the NFC is the most inconsistent conference for some reason every year. I'm going to go with, bro. I'm picking the two NFC East teams, and I don't know whether to pick Dallas or Philly, but it's going to be one of them two.
I'm honestly picking my two teams that I don't think will make the playoffs next year. And I know this is gonna sound crazy. I'm picking Philly and Jacksonville.
That's where I was going.
Mm-hmm. All right, two teams who didn't make the playoffs, who will make it next year.
As I grab my massage table to give me a nice massage later, I was thinking
okay,
that.
all right.
I was thinking that maybe a little misogyny would be good for the evening. I just wanted to make sure that I give a mention out there to Cleveland because Deshaun better
I like it. Mm-hmm.
be ready to play next year with the money he just got.
Mm-hmm.
And Cleveland, this is a you better special. You got the beef, you got the pass rush, you have the athletes. Now that you got Deion Jones with JOK, your nickel package is better than 9 out of 10 nickel packages in the NFL today. You better find you a free safety. If Jesse Bates leaves Cincinnati's building, you better offer him a house, another massage table, and something else of value to make sure he puts you in a place that you need to be, because Jesse Bates will change the whole complexion of that secondary.
I like it. I'm going Browns and Patriots is who I'm going. Oh, you didn't pick your second team. My bad.
Oh, no. My
bad.
Second team, my second team, man. I'm not just saying this, but I really have like a little soft spot in my heart for the Pittsburgh Steelers and Mike Tomlin. I really want to see Mike Tomlin win every single fucking year.
I agree
because
with that.
He is probably the one coach that I will say is probably my favorite leader of men in the entire league. And it's not even really close. And I just want to see a growth from the quarterback. I want to see the offensive line continue to get better. Najee Harris showed y'all that he is probably one of the most dangerous players to play that position with his strength of size, speed, and the physical ability he has between the tackles. But that defense with Minkah Fitzpatrick, TJ Watt, please, football gods, give them some secondary players to help Minkah Fitzpatrick, and please let them have a full season of a healthy linebacking core. And we will see the best out of the Pittsburgh Steelers defense. Thank you.
Rick?
All of that being said, I am going to agree with the Browns. Jeremy alluded to all of it already. That roster
seems to be unanimous.
That roster is too good to not see perform in big games. But here's my other one. The New York Jets.
I love it.
That's because if Tom is not going to put on a San Francisco 49ers uniform, I would like him to look at the Jets roster, really look deep at it, and say, I will go to New York and play for the Jets.
Pause, but all right. We're going to leave it there. Fellas, any closing thoughts before we wrap up? All right. Say less.
With everything being said, I just want y'all to know that I just would love to have more views. Views. I just want to know, views is my favorite show, y'all, and I just really want to just say that I would love to have a little bit more views in my life.
Oh man! Big
as I
shots
fold
at
my table up.
Giants, Jaguars. They still, yeah.
Shout out to everybody that joined us, man. It was fantastic. Well, they get it
Yo.
all the laughter.
Oh, bro, Jerm, you ain't shit, bro. Anyways, take us home, True. We'll see y'all later this week. Oh, 94 Feet of Life tomorrow. I know
The
Stoppage Time got a show coming up.
And
Not sure when the dish coming on, but you know, it's the off season. I'm sure they got some things going on. Make sure you locked in, subscribe, like button, you name it, notifications. It is what it is. Take us home, True.
22. See you later.
Imaginary players.